Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
All right. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is now 7:41 a.m. You're listening to Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Got a great show for you guys today. A great interview with a person who is very well known. And you know what? I'm not going to announce who it is, but let's just say this: he's running for a candidate. He's running for a candidacy. You know what? Hold on. Let me stop real quick. Hold up. Stop that. Let me take a... The Dunkin'. All right, let's get right into it now. Okay, so we've got a great person who is running for office. I'm not going to say who it is or what he's running for. Let you guys just watch the video here coming up soon. But let's talk about what we got going on in the news. All right, so first things first. Art and Market Aurora starts the 23rd of this month and goes every second and fourth Saturday at Society 57 at 100 South River Street, and it's from 8 to noon. The Art and Market Aurora is a gathering of vendors, socially distanced. There'll be food, lots of fun stuff to do. So please come on out. Second and fourth Saturdays from 8 to noon. Starting on the 23rd of this month, and that'll be at 100 South River Street, Society 57, right across from the Aurora Public Library. Shouts out. All right. Now, let's see here. The Aurora Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, as we told you, thrilled to announce the Aurora Country Club is hosting the 94th Annual Women's Western Junior Golf Tournament in 2021, one of the oldest tournaments in the United States. The tournament is organized by the Women's Western Golf Association and the Western Golf Association. Okay, by June, tourism officials at the Aurora area CVB are cautiously optimistic that the event will go ahead, potentially with spectators. Shouts go out to our friends at the Aurora area CVB. Aurora Housing Authority Housing Choice Voucher Waiting List. The application began on Monday and it closes this Friday. We've been telling you guys about this, and unfortunately that is a short window with which to do things. But a lottery will be held to determine random placement on the waiting list. Submitting your application will not be on a first-come, first-served basis, and the order in which applications are received will not be a factor in placement on the waiting list. 2,000 applications will be granted placement on the list. For more information on that, you can go to www.auroraha.com. Okie dokie. The Illinois Legislative Black Caucus want to get involved, want to fight for equity, and take your protest to power? Help the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus pass their agenda to stop systematic racism during the lame duck session. SB 1608, SB 1480, SB 1792, SB 1980, SB 558, HB 3653, HB 2170, and HB 5548. Contact your state senator and state representative today and tell them to support all four pillars when they come up for a vote in the House and Senate. Share your agenda on social media. Tell everyone you know that hashtag #ILBlackCaucus is working to hashtag stop systemic racism. Pass the hashtag ILBCA agenda to hashtag stop systematic racism. The ILBC agenda to stop systematic racism is made up of four pillars: economics, education, healthcare, and criminal justice. It's time for change. Call on your legislators to pass the IL Black agenda now. Okie dokie. Shouts out to Njoli and Cindy Wollenweber, our new subscribers on YouTube. Much love and much appreciated. We've got more cool stuff coming on the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I don't know why the hell you're not. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button and like the videos, and you may end up in one of those videos. You never know. You never know. All right. It's Wednesday morning here in the City of Lights, the second largest city, and we are the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Glad to be here. Glad to be so blessed and talking to you guys. We love y'all. Okie dokie. The Aurora Public Library breakdown of their schedule. Wednesday, January 13th, which is today, 6 p.m., citizenship and recent updates on immigration. You have to register. That's at 6 p.m. Head on over to the website to do that, the Aurora Public Library's website. Wednesday, the 20th, 6 p.m., contacting your elected officials. A follow-up to MLK's Day of Service. Political staffer Lily Rocha covers best practices to contact local, state, and federal representatives. The 21st, Thursday, 7 p.m., Civic Education Series, County Boards. Partnership with the League of Women Voters. It's a session about the importance of county boards and how they impact your life for teens and adults, and registration is required. February and March initiatives, Friday, February 12th, 10 a.m., Tai Chi for the Chinese New Year, and Tuesday, February 16th at 7 p.m., growing your business with LGBTQ friendly practices. Now that is part of the Fairness and Equality for a Better Aurora series, in conjunction with the Aurora Human Relations Commission. I said it kind of slow because that was a tongue twister right there. Okay, and last but not least, a message from our friends at the Illinois Department of Public Health. Until the COVID-19 vaccine is widely available, remember to practice the 3 W's. Watch your distance, wash your hands, and wear a mask. And that is the news. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for sitting down with us today.
It's a blessing.
All right. Good to see you on this nice, beautiful, bright Tuesday morning. For the listeners and the viewers, tell us who you are and where you're from.
My name is Saul Fultz, and I'm from the city of Aurora, where I was born and raised. Went to school here in the school district 131. Oak Park School to Simmons Junior High, and from Simmons Junior High to East Aurora High School, in which I graduated in 1981. Upon completion of high school, I enlisted into the United States Army, and in which I served a total of 9 years active and 6 years reserve. During that time in the service, I was part of the Post Color Guard, Honor Guard, and Field Detachment in the military. I received numerous awards, and the most astonishing reward that I received was in the 200-mile club, Runners Club, because due to the fact that I was more of a long-distance runner in high school and stuff, ran cross-country, 2 mile and stuff of that nature. So it enhanced me on further as far as whenever the push for as far as physical education within the school systems and within our youth programs that we had on board as far as from the federal government.
That's interesting. Growing up, what impact did your mom have in your life?
Again, if you know from past conversations with others, she had some impact, but it wasn't as influential as it needed to be. Coming from a single family home after the death of my stepfather, which therefore at 9 years old I had to step up and become the man because of the little things that mom was doing and stuff of that nature, as far as with the party and the clubbing and things of that nature. So it took on residents from the community to step in and fill that void.
Now you went to Simmons
Junior High.
Junior High.
Right.
Okay, and then went to East Aurora High School.
Then went to East Aurora High.
Okay. And where did you graduate?
I graduated in 1981.
What was Aurora like at that time?
Aurora, like at that time, it had its pros and cons. As far as in the actual area I grew up in, it was more a lot of activities that were going on, but that didn't come until later on as I got closer to high school. But before that, the community was well settled. Everyone knew their neighbors. We had a lot of moral values that were really expressed as far as through the youth and the community as a whole, as far as coming together in unity and togetherness. And there was much love within the community. And I weigh that on the faith leaders that were there in the community. You know, they stuck up and they did a lot. A lot of the churches could step up and filled a lot of voids as far as with the residents within the community. Then we had like the American Legion on Kane Street. I came up with under them as far as with their color guard team, along which was ran by William Carter.
Now, hold on. Now this is East Side.
East Side.
What was Aurora like as a whole at this time?
As a whole, back then, it was still a lot of unity and togetherness. There was, like I say, there was a lot of programs on the east and west side because I hung on the east and west side of town. So I had that mixture of both sides of town, and there were a lot of programs that were really active and were more positive back then compared to what we have now.
And you joined the military after high school?
Correct.
All right. What was the military like joining it at that time?
Military for me was fun and exciting.
Fun and exciting.
It was adventurous.
Did you know before joining that you wanted to join the Army?
Yes, it had always been on my mind because the stepfather himself and most family members on my mom's side had went to the military. And we go back and we look, and I go back through and search our history. I was more into the books, and so I was learning more about the history and different situations as far as in life. And one of the things that really stuck out with me was back when Fort Welcher, when they, if you remember,
stop doing that thing with the chair, with the squeak.
Okay. And eventually, what it was if you remember the movie Glory.
Oh, it's a great movie, Matthew Broderick.
Now, when we go back through our actual ancestry history, most of my family back then fought in that war, helped the Indians fight that war.
And what war was that?
That was the Second Indian War.
The movie Glory is about the Civil War.
Yes, that's the Second Indian War. Chief Scott.
Interesting.
So then I looked at as far as the men and the men's from the American Legion Post 798.
And that was the one on Kane Street?
Right, and they were all veterans and things of that nature, and I used to listen, hear their stories and so forth of that nature, so it got more interesting, I wanted to go see, what they did, and how enjoying it was, and with their stories and stuff. And when I got into the military, I got another opening of a mixture of people from all nationality walks of life. You had the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class, and when I got in that mixture, it gave me that blend of a full unitized community.
What do you remember about? What do you remember about like the Aurora of the 70s and 80s? You mentioned that families or the community was together, and there were different programs, things like that. What was the business aspect like?
The business aspects, as far as in the community, you had your stores like Heritage Grocer. You had where Bill Burrell's Cleaners and stuff was, what they call it, Capricorn line. He had a store there. The 7-Eleven store. You had multiple avenues of resources that you could go to as far as to purchase items. Then you had little corner stores as far as the mom and pop type corner stores within the community. And were residents that were working out of the home with the little 2-cent candy.
I remember that.
Yeah. And my godmother was one of them, and she turned around, she sold Dixie cups, the cookies, and the little 2-cent candy.
Mm-hmm.
And
what street did you grow up on?
I grew up at Cane and Trash.
Okay.
Right there on the corner.
Okay. What does America mean to you?
What it's supposed to mean to me is that it's supposed to be equality and justice. It's supposed to be a land of opportunity. But the way things have gone over the years, it has run away from its actual value, its moral values of what the America is supposed to be about. And it gets into more of a revenue based atmosphere now. Everybody's about a dollar instead, and they're not as far as thinking about as far as the actual citizens that stay within the United States itself.
I got it. So a lot less focus on who the individual is,
Right.
kind of thing.
It's almost the me, minds, and eyes.
Right.
Atmosphere that's out there now.
Right. So we're going to get into the political aspect and a little bit in the conversation, but I do want to get a sense from you. What did you learn in the military that still guides you and helps you with the community and what you're trying to do?
Okay. First of all, before we get into the military, going through the school system in Aurora with Mr. Wilbur Walter's wife, my 5th grade teacher, she encouraged me a lot as far as excelling in my education. We go to my 6th grade teacher. I've got to give them credit, even though they're gone, to their acknowledgement. Jerry Sonograph. From 6th grade, he took the low income as far as children-based problems, in problem areas, and he would take them on different holidays and stuff as far as to his home, and we would eat dinner. We would go to like the Shed Aquarium, the museum in Chicago, the White Sox, the Chicago Cubs baseball games, football games, things of that nature. So he took time as far as to fill the voids where there was a single family home. Mm-hmm. So that geared him as well as far as, okay, well, this is what I want to do. I've been through this situation. I need to give this back to the community as far as with the problem kids and things of that nature. So that led me also into high school, and it was Dr. Donald L. Fear. If we can remember back when the Timothy McVeigh bombing was in Oklahoma, and they had a superintendent's conference there, and Dr. Fear turned around and what he did, I was his lecture point as far as an inner city young man determined to get his education.
What, in your opinion, is Aurora's biggest strength?
That's going to be a good one. Aurora's inner strength?
Biggest strength.
Biggest strength right now? To me, there really isn't a...
It doesn't have to be right now.
Right, to me, there isn't... When we have what it used to be was that with everybody, it was more of a togetherness type of atmosphere. That was his biggest strength as far as the community and everybody working together. But today, there's so many voids in those areas that, to me, Aurora really doesn't have any good strengths right now.
What's one of those voids?
As far as the businesses themselves, remember everything used to be compact and adjusted to the downtown area. You had more establishments to actually patronize, and now you have everything that's all on the outskirts of town. There's nothing in the inside of town, so it's basically the tear down of the inner city, and it's more to the outer areas as far as, again, I say the bigger tax dollar.
Some would highlight recent business openings as a success story. Is that wrong?
I would not say that with the recent business openings, they're still not within they're actually in the heart of the city. So that's still a void to me, because how can the residents or the individuals within the city turn around and really venture and enjoy what's going on in the city without having to go so far out to receive those entitlements? Mm-hmm. So we're not centrally based. Now, when they say that the raw downtown businesses, okay, you have some that are here, but they're not really drawing the attention that the city once had. So, and most of the storefronts themselves now, as you know, a lot of renovation and stuff that's going on here in the downtown area. And they say, well, we're trying to beautify, the downtown area, bring the downtown back. But in reality, it's all about a tax dollar. And you got a lot of these reconstructions that have went up, and these buildings are still vacant. There's nobody in them. So what was the actual purpose of doing these storefronts and redoing the storefronts and stuff? And then you're putting lofts on top, and which is another economic revenue boost because you got the prices so high on them. So what did it benefit?
Right. Let's go back to the administrations in the city and of the city. Okay. In your opinion, what are the characteristics of a strong administration?
A strong administration to me would be everybody working together. I mean, we go out and we research and we pull in, different avenues and variations to turn around and come in and make the city stronger. There's too much of showism among the administration itself, as far as power struggles. And that is something you can't work together. You can't work strongly together if there's too much division among yourselves.
I had heard from a friend of this show that there used to be a movie theater in downtown Aurora.
Correct. That would draw.
You remember when there was a movie theater downtown?
I remember that. I remember when Hayden's Shoe Store and all that used to be here. So,
what was it called? Hayden's?
Hayden's Shoe Store. That was the shoe store that was right here on down.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I gotta research. Look that one up. Tracy Duran, here I come.
Yeah, you'd be Hayden's Shoe Store. They were here for years, and I know they were here when I left. But as I come back, like I say, a lot of the little stores down there. You had Jimmy Holmes that was right down here on Broadway. The suit tailor store. Everybody would go get their suits and their Stacey Adams and so forth. So, I remember there was more clothing stores and things for people to do, to really do.
Now you
back to the administration.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So back to the administration. If they would pool together, there would be a lot more economic development here within the city.
Okay.
Your rules and regulations and zoning and so forth of that nature could be much better.
Now you said when you left, where'd you go? Where'd your travels take you to?
My travels took me from Aurora to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I made basic training.
Okay.
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. AIT was done at Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indiana. I came back from there, came back for about 2 weeks before I was sent to Korea, in which I served on with 2nd Infantry Division, 2nd Infantry Division. The unit was 1st 38th Infantry Division, which was bombed by the DMZ.
What's Korea like?
Korea was. It wasn't what you wanted it to be. It was it had odors and things of that nature, but the people themselves were more welcoming. They got along together with the service members and things of that nature. They were always assisting and giving a hand, giving a hand where needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really all I can really say. The people were very warm.
Nice.
We even had to go out to the villages as far as you watch my back, I watch yours. When the monsoon seasons and things came of that nature, we would have to go out and do the sandbags and stuff to protect the villages and stuff of that nature.
Was there a lot of fighting?
No, there really wasn't. This was during peacetime at that time.
Okay. Okay. That history is interesting for people to know, especially young people. I do believe that the young people who travel from here, at least Aurora, we know ourselves as a city, but I think that when we go different places and come back, it's helpful to know what the outside world is like.
And that was another reason I went, because I wanted to get that venture to see what the rest of the world was like.
Yeah. The world's a lot bigger than Kane Street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I understand. I grew up in Harvey. The world's a lot bigger than Sibley Boulevard.
Yeah.
What does America not understand about people of color?
What does America think of people of color? To me, with everything going on right now, that it's really like we don't exist to a certain degree. Because what America thinks is that as far as the Afro-American, I can go back through to slavery, where because of the structure, the build, and the minds of the people of color, it was more of a threat to the rest of America.
Right.
So, and today it still is. There's really no advancements as far as within the employment sectors, the job markets, businesses themselves. We can't venture and go to the next level because there's, like someone had the foot store, their foot stepped on us on our neck where we can't go further. But when we say, when I say that there, I mean, but we as the people of colors, right? We don't have to wait on the rest of America to turn around for us to excel to the next levels. When we can all come as a unit and do it upon ourselves.
What from those days of Kane Street and Trask Street does Saul Fultz want to capture and bring to the next level?
What I want to bring to the next level is moral and ethical values as far as back within the communities of that area. We want to look more at our senior citizens and youth as far as within the community. Right now, there's nothing for seniors to do. There is nothing for our youth to do. And we have, as far as businesses, as far as money, we have too many storefronts, which can be occupied and businesses started. I'll get to that later on that one. Because back when I was coming up, we had the Grand Boulevard Center. The housing units had actual activities within the housing units themselves. The churches had things going on. Just like the Masons and that, they had activities for the youth. The American Legion, like I said, the Color Guard unit that they had. So there was things for us to really venture and do. The summer youth program at the local parks, where we competed against one another. This park would compete against this person, and at the end of the summer, you had an all-out competition, bragging rights, and so forth of that nature. And none of that's here now.
So you're running for 7th Ward Alderman.
Correct.
What are the for those listeners, what's the 7th Ward encompass? What's its boundaries?
7th Ward composed from South Vicksburg Avenue to DuPage County, out by the Oak Forest Preserve section, Odiola Road, East Avenue, and all that by Fox Point, by the hospital.
Okay. Copley Hospital.
Copley Hospital.
Right, okay. Very cool. The 7th Ward, so it's a nice little stretch.
It is. Matter of fact, 7th Ward is the largest ward within the city of Aurora.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that. Interesting. So, what made you want to go down the path of being an alderman?
Well, by coming back, back and forth to the city of Aurora, while I was on my journey with different cities, within different states. I was getting what, as my grandma would call, I was doing stew pot cooking. I was preparing a stew.
Okay.
So I got a little bit out of this section and a little bit out of this section, and I seen the positivity of programs that were working.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that and I put it into my informational database. And when I would go here, I would get the positive, enhancement, enrichment programs that were effective.
Right.
And so now it's time as I come to the city and I see that a lot of programs have been omitted out the system through past administrations.
Like what? Give me one example.
Well, you had the YMCA. Okay, we know it closed down.
Mm-hmm.
There had been an issue as far as a Boys and Girls Club here within the city, which would be enrichment as far as to our youth.
Mm-hmm.
We had community-based centers as far as for our youth and seniors. Thirdly, what we had was, we had more positive nonprofit organizations that were really focused on their agenda in the communities.
And we don't have any positive nonprofits.
With the thing with the nonprofit organizations that as I see today, and since I've been back, and since I've been coming back and forth since 2015, is there's too many me, mines, and eyes segments instead of coming together as a unity together. Why would you, if you come together, you can make one big event instead of I'm trying to do this my way. I don't need no help. I'm gonna do this my way. I don't need your help. I'm gonna do this way. But then at the same time, you come up on the totem pole, everybody's doing the same thing. So why not? It's less dollars spent on an event if you come together.
Mm-hmm. Now, with seeing all those things, did you know off the bat that being an alderman was what you wanted to do? Or did that take a little bit more coaching?
Well, it didn't really take a lot of coaching because it's something that I've always had on the back burner.
Okay.
And when I had a politician in Mississippi, let's go back, because if we want to go through the politician reign, a lot of my family is politicians. So that came into play as far as with the appellate court, Supreme Court Justice of Mississippi. I've had one that was a mayor 2 terms and then left, and when Ray Mabus was the governor of Mississippi, went and worked on his staff, and then he returned back and got the mayoral seat again. I had another that was in Jacksonville, Florida. Mm-hmm. So this political reign is just there, and then I can go back to Germany with the Olympics, Jesse Owens. Okay, which
you're related to Jesse Owens? You're related to
Jesse Owens.
What's the relation?
That goes 1, 2, it's 3 generations on my father's side.
Cousins?
It'd be cousins. It'd be our cousin.
And for the listeners, especially for the youth, who is Jesse Owens?
Jesse Owens was an actual track star from University of Ohio. Went to the Olympics and was it 1936? 1936, and he went and he won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numerous medals at the Germany Olympics, and which again it was about color, and the color barrier as far as during that time he broke the color barrier as far as with Hitler.
Interesting. Now, what is an alderman?
An alderman is a representative advocating voice as far as for the citizens of the ward that he represents. And what he is to listen to the actual citizens of the community and come up with a processing plan or action plan as far as to combat the issues that are within the community, as far as to rebuild the community and its infrastructure.
Interesting. All right. Very well said. Like you was got that, but you're looking at Wikipedia or something. Now, how does an alderman advocate or stimulate business?
The alderman will advocate and stimulate business. See where in the community where there is actual growth that that can be done, and what he does, he comes back and he gets on the drawing board and he figures out, what would be a positive establishment as far as for that certain area, and then he would reach out to different vendors and things of that nature as far as to come into the area.
Right.
And then once that business or investment would come into the area, that would create, say you had a big unemployment issue as far as within your community. You could bring in like a big chain store, supermarket or something of that nature. Mm-hmm. So what you've done then, you promoted employment into the community,
right.
Revenue into the community, and therefore if you watch your community grow.
I'm sorry.
Each community, really is supplying its own needs.
What are some of the issues currently facing the 7th Ward?
Again, with the 7th Ward, we have parking issues. A lot of the nuisance areas that were within the community have been brought before the boards and stuff to be disbanded, and none of these things have taken place. And the citizens are really at an uproar about it because they can't have the feasible parking on either side of the street. They got parking signs on each side because it used to be a drug-infested area, but now that's been almost 20 years, roughly say 20 years that there hasn't been an actual issue or anything within those areas, but still they are being disbanded and categorized as a nuisance area.
Okay.
So you have that on the back minds of the citizens that are within the community, and we don't have this going, but they're still listing us as a bad neighborhood. But now, if you go back to statistics, actual police reports and statistics, it's been at a low.
What area are we talking about specifically?
We're talking like the Grand Boulevard area, as far as traffic, as far as the traffic on both sides, Grand Boulevard Avenue. We're talking about as far as the Kane Street trash area. We're talking under the Loucks, the Liberty, South Vicksburg area.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So these areas have changed, but still we're under disbandment of, how do I want to say, under this disbandment here of nuisance areas, activities. There's not that much that goes on. It actually goes on in the 7th Ward.
Right.
And the lighting is bad. I don't know why the lighting could be better. I do know that ComEd has a actual grant to come out and put the LED lights up. Nobody has reached out to ComEd to turn around and try to do anything. They haven't, like I said, that grant itself, they will come out, they will supply you the lights, and then they will actually assist in helping you put them up.
Right.
Nobody has reached out for that. Now, in the TBOC area, they renovated the whole TBOC area, and they made the lights like we have downtown here.
What's TBOC?
I don't know the full, name of the TBOC. I just know it's TBOC Community, and it was a project that they did, Grand Boulevard to Farnsworth.
Was it a city project?
That was a city project that was done years ago. It's called TBOC Community.
Okay.
And that's where Grand Street Boulevard area.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice how you have the light structures here with the nice lighting and the poles in the ground and stuff of that nature. Okay, you put that over there, but what about the rest of the community? You forgot about the rest of the community, as far as this lighting stuff. And not only that, but you've done the TBOC area, and you can't even keep it up. lights are all out through the poles and all that there. You're going in blind spots and so forth, but you invested so much money into this, but you can't even keep the maintenance up.
So, when you are alderman, and we wish you the absolute best of luck, when you are alderman, you would then be a part of the city council,
Correct.
working with the rest of the aldermen. How do you look forward to that step?
I've talked to numerous that are present now, and and there's a lot of I want to say game plans, that are bored. I can't really get into it right now, but
Which means, come on, no, bro, you're gonna have to give us something.
No, there's a lot. There's a lot of game plans that are coming of the economic development, as far as the economic development of the ward.
Sure.
Some are trying to bring back some of the youth things. It's going to be a strong push. But what I'm doing now is advocating, even though I'm not in office, which I've already claimed because of my spiritual strength, so as when I get in, I've already got 1 foot already in the door of what I'm trying to bring.
So basically, you've been making those contacts already.
Right.
Okay. All right.
To be very productive, positively enriching and enhancement as far as to the community. So I'm already reaching out, state and federal levels, as far as funding and things of this nature, resources, how I can go about,
How's the response been from the state and federal levels?
I know it's one thing as far as on the state level, and I had to get on somebody about that because even though through COVID, our youth were left out of a lot.
What do you mean?
Meaning that there was nothing as far as enriching, as far as for the youth, as far as to go through this COVID crisis. We got the e-learning and stuff of that nature, but what did we have as far as to open up as far as to the youth? Because now we're doing the PPCs, we're doing the PPEs, or what? We're doing employment enrich, the extra on the employment. Okay, but then again, here the youth are sitting home all day.
There's a pandemic.
Okay, there's a pandemic, but there still should have been something, even if it's in the as far as how do I want to say this, even if it's as far as opening up more doors, as far as more resources, as far as to enrich their knowledge or make it, but just besides e-learn, no, we need more other programs that were out here that could come in.
Well, the Aurora Public Library, we've been doing the news for a while now, since the pandemic. And the Aurora Public Library has had a stocked calendar of all manner of youth, young adults, up to the teen level of engagement activities and workshops on a virtual level. Is that not enough?
If they've done that, now I'm not. I have seen their postings and things of that nature, but now not everybody was feasible as far as to get on those programs. Some of your e-learning is they have a limitation on it. As far as the use of the computer and so forth of that nature.
There was a shortage of computers that the Chromebooks and things like that. Sure,
right.
It's been known that there's a lot of youngsters that don't have access to internet access.
And things of that nature. So I mean, it may have enriched some, but then there were some that were left out. But this is what I'm saying as far as on the state and federal level, is that they should have had more feasible. The internet system itself should have been more intact as far as for these youth to really reach out.
Okay. Now, the 7th Ward, how would you rectify that problem?
To rectify that problem, I would still work as far as with like Xfinity, some way or another to some type of a plan that would be set up as far as for those that are not less fortunate to receive the services, to be able to obtain those services.
Is there a good proposal?
I haven't really sat down at the table as far as put that plan together, but it would be forthcoming.
Okay.
The other thing is where you said the enrich 7th Ward, like you say, bring more more business and stuff, more workshops as far as for businesses to start up, go out in partnership with a lot of workshops and seminar groups as far as on small businesses and stuff. Because what we have now is that a lot of businesses themselves, the people that go out and start business, and all of a sudden they come in, okay, you don't have this and you don't have that. But to make sure as far as when they go in, that they have all their I's and T's dotted and crossed.
Right.
And therefore, their business will be up and running accordingly.
Again, anybody who can help, rectify the problem of paperwork.
Right.
And some of the barriers would definitely be appreciated. There is, we were just talking about the Section 8, or excuse me, the Aurora housing voucher approach.
Section 8.
It's, the window for applying is very short, but what you would need to apply successfully, or the paperwork behind it, is very extensive. So yes, it is a problem to a lot of people trying to get their stuff off the ground.
Right, and I know some people were calling me yesterday, and they were telling me like, well, Saul, I'm trying to, to get in. It won't let me do this, and it won't let me do that. And then I'm like, So I got in, it's me, I'm going to go in and I'm going to, see what's going on. And there was actually one part of it that was an issue. And if they didn't have no way to download the actual consent form, and if they didn't have a way to do it, to retrieve that, it was going to stop right there.
Right.
It wouldn't let you go no further. So I had to go in and I had to show them on their cell phones and stuff of that nature how to retrieve this document. Okay, but then you still got to get it printed.
Right.
So that was void as far as that process, because they were not actually again, internet, printer, and then they were wasting their time doing the application.
Now, Aurora, or excuse me, the 7th Ward has an alderman. What's wrong with the things? What's wrong with it now?
What have they done for me? You know the old saying, what have they done for me lately? Nothing. There's nothing been done. You can go out and you can do programs. You can do your little back to school bashes and things of that nature. But where are the actual improvements within the ward? There is none. And this is what the people are complaining about. There's no improvement. There's no upscale improvement as far as within the ward. We're still left behind on the back burner. And the city is using the 6th and 7th Ward as far as with the issues that are within those wards, as far as when they're doing their actual proposals as far as for their grants.
What do you mean?
Like crime rate, the drug thing, the at-risk kids, and things of this thing. You do grants for these things. Okay, and if this is so much of an issue, then why isn't the money that's being received put into that community to better its infrastructure? See, when money's coming in and it's being deployed everywhere else but where it needs to be, instead of receiving the revenue for it.
Right. I lived in the 6th Ward for just about all my time in Aurora, and I recently moved to a new ward. So I was familiar with at least the 6th Ward and its, priorities and development. And I really didn't have a problem. I thought Mike Seville was a pretty good alderman, but now I don't live in his ward anymore. So this is interesting, because I do like to, on this show, we do like to try to understand what the temperature is of folks.
And it's simple, and like I say, right now, it's not, where it could be better, but there's so much division in that among, and they're like, nothing's been done. Okay, our youth they say that the youth are the problem, okay, but what are you doing to resolve that issue with our youth? If they're the problem, then what's the action plan? How can we turn this around?
Right.
But
So-
you're still receiving funding to mentor this problem or this nail in the wood, but yet nothing's being done.
So the current alderwoman is Ms. Shakita Hart Burns, who is your opponent. When are the elections?
The election is April the 6th.
April the 6th.
Correct.
How has campaigning and getting to know the people and being out there, how's that been?
Well, it's been very exciting. I have been, I've went out with, several groups. I have a good, group behind me. So it's been very interesting, and I've even went to some areas that they knew that they had an alderman, but they never even met her.
Okay,
So that was a thumb to me, because how can you represent an area and your constituents don't really know who you are?
Right.
So that was an issue, and another issue is that I'm very people orientated, and I'm not here for show. I'm here to be a strong advocating voice as far as for the citizens.
Right.
It goes back again to my military, because personnel administration, finance, I did 6,997 troop members. And I had to deal with this on a daily basis. So I'm very tentative as far as to what I'm doing. I'm a policy person. So that's another thing. If you come to me with a complaint, I'm going to search it tooth and nail and come back with a resolution.
What can the residents of the 7th Ward expect from a Fultz aldermanship?
From a Fultz aldermanship, what they can expect is I want to be able to form a integrated community council, which will be based on faith leaders, businesses, the seniors, the youth, as a whole, the community as a whole, from different sectors of the community, to come down and we'll meet monthly. We will talk about issues and concerns as far as within the community. And when we sit down and talk about these things in the community, we come up with an action plan and try to research it and see how we can make this plan effective as far as within the communities.
As we know, over the summer, Aurora experienced rioting in its downtown. How would you, or how could you, be a constructive voice between the community and the police department?
Okay. To be a constructive voice as far as within the community would be to draw...
And the police department. Between the community and the police department.
Right. And what I would do is just call 3 Ps. It's called people, policing, and process. So, with the concerns of the citizens being brought forward, with the actual policing as far as with the people and the policing sitting together and listening, after listening to what's being said, is to come up with a process. A process, a plan, an action plan, and to really get the policing as far as the community together would be the more functions as far as within the community, both sides working together.
Aurora had a session of community dialogues with the police. What did you think about those? Did you take part in those?
I did take part in them.
What did you think?
My thing as far as with all the community sessions and stuff, it was hogwash. I'm just going to be straightforward. It was hogwash. Due to the fact because you had all the sessions as far as with the residents of the city and the ward, but you never really listened to them. You already had your agenda already set. So this was just something to say, well, we're doing something, but there was nothing really being done.
So your listening sessions would then produce...
Actually be a person of action, a strong advocating voice and of action. Pulling resources, searching, doing that, actual research at, well, this situation here, how was it more effective in this community or that community? And then we bring it back before everyone, and we would sit down and we would discuss it, how to really implement this and make it work.
Should the police have body cameras?
The police, the last I heard, they purchased the body cameras after the riot gear was approved. And that was the body cameras have been an issue for so long. But why was it that one incident you jumped to that as being prioritized when you already had 100, 150 riot gear units already that you hardly ever used over 20 some years?
Should the police have body cameras?
Yes. That is all. The body cameras will produce a protection of the citizens and the police themselves,
Creating that record.
Right. It'd be a trail, because they say cameras can't lie.
Right. One of the things that a lot of Aurora residents have brought up consistently is that they don't feel there's equality in what the city has prioritized and what they prioritize. Is that an accurate statement?
What the city has prioritized to what the citizens prioritize is what you're saying. I would say that is an accurate statement. Because again, the people are being left out.
What was your first job?
My first job, 8 years old, I mowed lawns in the community.
I knew I liked you as soon as I saw you.
After that, I went to a newspaper for Aurora Beacon News.
You worked for the Beacon?
Yeah.
Mr. Fultz, how about that?
Then after the Beacon, I worked with Heritage Grocer, community-based store that was there on Kendall and New York Street.
Kendall in New York. Wow, I pictured. Wow, there was a store
there was
there.
A store there, called Heritage Grocer, Joe Heritage Grocer.
How about that?
And they did. They had wash machines and stuff on the backside. I worked there as stock.
What was your opinion of the events that took place at the Capitol on the 6th?
Very disturbing. That's all I'm saying. It was very disturbing. It went against the morals and values of the United States of America. It was a thorn into our democracy.
Aurora has a housing issue. What should be done to correct it?
First of all, the city has too many buildings that can be utilized. There were issues as far as where the old Westwood used to be at, housing units used to be at.
Jericho.
And it came up that they were trying, and now the housing administration was trying to promote a new community. And there were issues there as far as with the residents and the aldermen from that area that were not wanting. They were like, well, it's gonna be like the old Westwood was like, that Jericho area was like this and like that. Okay, we have to get out of the oldness and give room for newness, to expand. Just because it was like this back then doesn't mean it's going to be like this now. Over a time period, things change. People begin to start looking at the full lightness of everything, of things, and you don't never know whether their demeanor, they've been down so long, and then with the situation, like say with housing and stuff going on, there's not much to really do to get involved with, because it's not that the housing's not amplified like it needs to be.
So how can we correct it?
To bring in more housing, we need to turn around as far as the land and stuff that the city's being, keeping back as far as for revenue, profit.
Right.
Again, it's profit. Everything's about profit. And utilize those areas within the community to enrich the housing situations within the community. I also feel that there should be some type of a rental cap.
A rental cap.
Rent is steady, it's steady rising. So there should be a minimum, a line drawn somewhere as far as
A cap?
Yeah, cap.
A cap on rents?
Right.
With that cap and other initiatives, do you see a bright future for Aurora?
Aurora can have a brighter future if we get back to the concerns of the communities. We need to bring more we got to promote industries into the community. And with Aurora being so diversified, it's that's what's running a lot of them away. And I've heard this, and I've done my research on it. Some people, that's other companies that were wanting to come here, but the city was too diversified. Again, they're doing all the structure downtown. If you want to draw a business in, don't you want to catch its eye appealing from the out as they come into the city? You want to gather that attention, that structure attention.
Correct.
Okay, I'm coming into something. It's beautiful coming in. Imagine what the inside.
Right.
But you're trying to do it from the inside out. And you can't really see that vision that's very projected.
Aurora, to that, Aurora has had a steadily strengthening diversity. So for our undocumented residents, our LGBTQ residents, what can they expect from Fultz? What would you bring to the table to include all of us?
We say that we are to be a sanctuary. Say that we're receiving, the immigrants and stuff in here as far from other countries and things of that nature. Okay. We feel, when they're saying that ISIS and all this coming through and so forth of that nature, but at the same time, if we're receiving these immigrants and stuff into the city, then why is it that we don't have some type of program set up to make sure they go through the process of becoming legalized?
We have the Neighbor Project.
Again, these are things, organizations, things of that nature. You say, okay, we do our application. Okay. Then there's the next step, and the next step, and the next step to ensure that they meet every step along the way into that citizenship is obtained.
Have you worked with World Relief?
No, I haven't.
Do you feel that they are placed to help, or can they be doing more?
I'd have to research it more.
Okay.
You just brought it to me, so I'm going to research it. Adequate comment on but I know this has been an issue because I listen to a lot of people in the Latino communities and stuff, Hispanic communities, and this is one of their things. This is one of their gripes. We have no help. As far as to really get through this, to get legalized. And it's a legalization process. And if we can turn around and perform some type of structure that can get these people to get them legalized, we would be doing more as far as helping them out. We also have a lot of the Africans here, community here, the same process, And I've heard a lot of them talk about, well, I've been waiting on, this to go through, and I've done my applications, and nothing's coming. An actual action follow-up plan that we can always check the status, communication.
All right. With our state officials and our state representatives, for example, how is your relationship with them, working relationship with them?
Barbara Hernandez is pretty good. We communicate back and forth, and as far as what's going on state level and so forth of that nature. So I'm very adverse of what's going on in Springfield.
Good.
So, and I wanted, what I basically do is I try to look at each bill and so forth that comes before the panel. Like now they're in the lame duck session. And what I basically do is go over these bills. So, well, if this bill is passed, how would I help implement this bill as far as into the structure of the city of Aurora or into the community?
Right.
So I'm already working on a plan already, you know. So if it gets passed, okay, I can go ahead and start putting my plan together. Or I'm already about, just say, halfway there. Now I needed to get finalized, you know, passed, and then, okay, then we're ready to roll.
Okay. Now, before we end, I do want to know from you, what's your take? So it's 2021. We got a lot of elections coming up.
Right.
There's the mayoral elections, and there's also Aurora Township elections. What's your idea of the candidates? That's the door.
Okay. So what I think, well, most of the candidates that I see right now is about change, and that's been the platform of the candidates for this election, is all about change, because for years there hasn't really been that much of a change. And in order to move forward, we've got to have change. In order to be a positive community, positive, enhancing, enrichment community, we've got to have change. We've got to have a different structure.
Gotcha.
We got to get out of corruption within the city. And I've seen a lot of it since I've been here. And it needs to come to a halt. You know, as we can say now, the old saying, your gravy train is ended. And that's what this election will produce if all candidates succeed.
All candidates can't succeed.
Right, I mean, you know but you mean as far
all candidates can't
as far as the change movement that's going on, and it's been it's been going on all over the United States.
Right,
it's about change, the inequality, injustices. So again, if I have some candidates in mind, I'm not going to say who they are or whom they are, but I've looked at everybody's agenda. I've heard everybody's agenda. And I know if this, I can crisscross it, format it either way I want. But there's a coalition that can work together to make a positive change within the city of Aurora.
I do believe you. I do believe it. I think it's a very fair and accurate assessment. The show ends on a positive note. What is your message to the people of Aurora today?
My message to the people of Aurora is that we can change for the better. It's been a long time coming, but a change is inevitably on the rise. No Vision Big Pill says success comes with a positive mental attitude. And if we as a community can come together in unity, togetherness, and love, we can make that positive change happen.
We appreciate you coming on to the show today, man. On behalf of the second largest city's first daily news podcast, we want to say thank you to Mr. Saul Fultz, running for Ward 7 Alderman. Don't forget to get out there and vote. And don't forget to stay tuned to the second largest city's first daily news podcast. We will see you guys back here for another great episode. Peace.